judgment will be your greatest challenge. And it will be your greatest challenge as long as you're alive because you're always trying to figure something out and you have to use your judgment to try to figure that out. But then what you discover is that your judgment or what you're trying to figure out from the awareness that you have is always really limited. So if you're using your judgment, you're probably going to cut yourself off from receiving new information that would help you in your life, that would help you evolve or expand as we're all meant to do when we come into the world. See, we each come into the world with this purpose, with this mission that we're supposed to live. And when we do that, we live great lives, and then we also contribute to the world because that's why each person is born. And so I happen to know that everyone has that purpose and it's in front of you right now. And I happen to know that as well because you might be moving through a whole bunch of judgment right now, either about yourself because something's being presented to you and you're thinking, am I the person who's going to do this? Can I do this? Or you're looking at others and judging them because of what you're seeing them do. Because, see, we're all going through this big evolvement or ascension, or what I call a planetary ascension. But individually, you would be moving through it, which means that you're feeling something that you're meant to do. Maybe you've put it off for a really long time, or maybe you thought you couldn't do it, or you thought it was someone else, whatever it might have been. And then you might be really angry because you're not doing it, or really frustrated because you're being urged to do that. So last night, what happened was before I went to bed, I heard from Wilhelm, and that's my guides. That's how I receive information. And typically, what I will do is every morning I sit down and I meditate and I receive information and I write it. That's what I've been doing for more than 35 years. I didn't know why I was doing it. I didn't know what it was going to be. Just to find out that it turned into a philosophy that if anyone were to use it, that they would live this great life because now they don't have to go through all the trauma and drama and everything that they've lived before because I wrote down how to move through it. That seemed really unbelievable. Seemed unbelievable to me and probably a whole bunch of other people. But then I discovered that there's an alignment in the universe and we all have it. We have an individual alignment, and if we get in touch with that, we live great lives and we begin to heal in many different ways. And then we pass that on to the world, and the world does the same thing. But it might not look like that at this moment. But I'm telling you that that is why you are alive, and I know that for sure. And I'm going to prove it to you. So last night, when I heard this, my Wilhelm said, now just look at the message we gave you last year on this date, speaking of today, which is October the 5th. And it was that judgment will be our greatest challenge because we're going to look at things changing in our world and within us, and then we're going to have judgments in all sorts of ways. But the thing that you always want to do is decide that you're going to release your self judgment because that's where it usually shows up. It always shows up there first because we don't think we are enough or we can do something or we're not the people who are meant to do it, whatever it might have been. And it's that would be coming up now. So last night they said, now put down these messages, and this is my any advice message for today, because I was instructed to record the video first, and so you'll understand it because it'll make sense. Because what I'm going to do is read you all the messages that they had me put down, and I'll explain to you why. Because see, we each have a divine plan. I love using that because that's something that most of us don't think of, or it seems a little weird, but I know that we do. And I've proven that because when I was revealed to me that I had this information, I had information on your birth date. I had information on your birth and what was going on in your life in different years. That made no sense to me either, except it kept showing up when I'm working with someone and they come in and I have private channeling today. Same thing. I have his birthday and I can kind of see the things that have happened. Now, we exist in our consciousness, and consciousness is not something we have figured out. We don't know what we can do. And so we have judgment about that. Like we don't think things are possible. So we don't think things are possible in our lives. And then we surely don't think that things are possible to change in the world if we can't accept that. But then those of us who kind of understand something, maybe we're supposed to do a little bit more. And that's what was given to me. To say that I had this information was going to be really challenging, and it was like that for many years. You might have done the same thing because you have something that's within you that's trying to come out, and you're saying, no, no, no. But today you might change that because I'm going to read these messages and then I'll explain to you the order and why they are there and what you will get from it because you're going to move through the same thing. We're all moving through energetic changes in our world, and we're affected by that energetically, emotionally, spiritually, however you think of it. And that's something else that we're beginning to understand. And that's a lot of the research that I've been doing, and which I will do so much more of, because what I've discovered is it's when you get in alignment with who you are, you start to heal in every single way. And that's what this work that I had received from Wilhelm, that's what it has done. And I know that this work could give anyone the ability to transform their life. And if more people did that, we would have a very different world. So that's what I'm going to read to you today. And you're going to get so much out of it. And you will feel different after you're done explore or listening to these, I should say. So that's what we're going to do today. October 5th, 2024. Yes, you have everything you need to live an extraordinary life and manifest a magnificent world, and it has always been within you. We have been reminding you during your restructuring. Today is the day we would like you to accept a greater portion of yourself. We will do that by repeating the message we provided last year, but we asked our messenger to do a video explaining the following messages that will mean a lot to him and each of you in the coming months. We are always ahead of you. October 5th, 2023, judgment will be your greatest challenge. When you are born unto the physical plane, you are provided a divine plan to follow that is unique and meaningful. But you also have limited awareness or consciousness, and some of your choices and actions may not have provided you with the results you believed you desired. The other part of the puzzle is you are also part of the divine plan for your world. So whatever you might have experienced that did not serve your goal of expansion was also meant to alert you to that fact. But your first reaction might have been one of self-judgment. When you invoke those thoughts and beliefs, you halt your expansion and that of your world. We have said you are moving through a restructuring. The next several months might bring challenges, but when you decide to love who you are and, and fulfill your divine mission, you will experience a different life and world. We gave you a message 10 years ago that you can utilize today, October 5th, 2013. The tool of reflection exists in your physical world so that you might use it for your expansion. In other words, what you feel and experience in your outside or external world reflects what you are feeling and experiencing in your internal world or your thoughts and beliefs. One of the most effective for you to use is the experience of judgment. When you feel that others are judging you in some manner, it reflects your judgment about yourself. If that were not the case, you would never feel that judgment from those others. You can decide at any moment to use this process of reflection to make changes and choices that further your expansion. You will accomplish this when you give up blaming others for your experience. October 9th, 2023. This date is important because it is also the date that I will be speaking to millions of people on a radio broadcast, and I did not know that it was going to come up on this date, but that is the alignment that is in my life that we all have. You are the answer. That answer you have sought for any challenges or difficulties you might have experienced in your life or witnessed in your world is within you. You come to the physical plane at the perfect time for your unfolding and that of your planet. But you must use your physical resources of consciousness, energy, and linear time to allow that ascension to manifest within you and your world. We provided a message in 2009 on this date that will aid you today and the rest of this week. You stand at a pivotal place in your life and world. All you need is to love yourself and do your job. October 9th, 2009. Your only job is to live and experience your physical life journey fully. Sometimes you get distracted and mistakenly believe that part of that job is to help others live theirs. You can never accomplish that, and your efforts in that direction are always futile. While they may temporarily distract you, it never serves your ultimate goal of expansion. All your relationships, interactions, and associations with others are always meaningful and purposeful, or they would not be there. However, their purpose is merely to provide a context to choose who you desire to be and how you desire to live your life. You soar when you let down your judgments and barriers to this information. October 17th, 2023. That date is important for us all because that is the next full moon. And Wilhelm always gives me messages for the full moon or any moon changes that will help us. So now we are ahead of it. You are creating a new world. We use the word creating for we want you to recognize your active participation. No matter what you may experience in your outside world, your contribution will be the result of how it turns out. None of you have more ability than another to perform this task, but you do require reminders along the way, and we have given you all of them during this restructuring. Please embody the one we provided on this day in 2012. Nothing is accidental, especially you. October 17th, 2012. Decide to continually hold the vision of who you desire to be. As you move through your physical life experience, you often require some motivation to create or manifest what you desire. The vision of that in all its aspects will help you find that motivation. You must not limit that vision or think you must know precisely how it will occur. The only thing that is truly important for you is your imagination. Your imagination is much more powerful than you usually acknowledge. As you decide to embark on this particular journey and process, you will also find the happiness and joy in your life increasing. October 18th, 2023. Now, this date is important because it is when I fly to Colorado to do the channeling session, which I will show you that's going global. So it's going to a much larger audience in 180 countries because we are moving through a global restructuring as well, which I have called planetary ascension, which is what I will be speaking on the 19th. The Savior is you. We know some will have difficulty with that statement since you have assigned the responsibility for your life and world to those outside yourself. We have advised you that the salvation you seek is within you. Our message has been the same as any other ascended master, but you don't necessarily hear or accept that belief as a collective society and civilization. But today you can listen to us. Examining your world and life today will inspire you to take more action. That action is to recognize your importance, love who you have become, and release any negativity you have held about yourself and others. Then, restructuring you and the world we have said you are experiencing will be aided. October 19th, 2023. That is the date that I will of the channeling conference. Your anger and judgment and hatred might be old. Every soul is born with embedded beliefs and ideologies that may not serve them now as your planet is moving through a restructuring. We provided a message 3 years ago that will aid you now as you experience more conflict. Your pain is not new. You will gain some comfort through this message, and if you are diligent about genuinely desiring to understand what we are about to give you, your life will be easier to traverse. We have said you are currently experiencing restructuring of the world you knew, which begins with each of you. You decided to be alive to aid you in your evolution. It will be different for each and the same. We love our cryptic messages, but that one is one you will come to understand. One of Roger's issues has been guilt, and we must say it has been typically artificial guilt, which he could not explain most times. Roger made an error in his email to his family and had horrific guilt episodes that bothered him all night. Last night, we told Roger to use one of our techniques, sit in it. What we meant by that is at times you do not know the origin of some of the difficulties you experience because they are quite old. We have said you have connections to your ancestors and continually surface for their release. Using our sit in it technique will make sense. We had Roger observe an explanation about climate change that can apply to Roger's condition and your world. You can easily understand the importance of not leaving a child in a hot car. The science has told you that when hot air cannot escape and is trapped inside a vehicle, it will be harmful and kill the child. You have been that child. You placed yourself in the car, allowed the heat to accumulate, and almost killed yourself. You collectively have done it over lifetimes. So also apply this analogy to your planet. But using it for yourself will be more helpful. Allow yourself to breathe who you are. November 5th is when we are having an election in the United States, and the United States is the country that's leading the way in this restructuring, as Wilhelm has always told us, and there is science behind that has been explained as well. Conquering self doubt is your goal. As you view the message we provided last year on this date, you will be moved to love yourself more. November 5th, 2022, self doubt will be your only challenge. We said it would be because you are still moving through a rapidly changing world, which we called your restructuring. You are on an evolutionary soul journey, and what is revealed to you about yourself will also be new and it will help you to accept who you have become. You only have self doubt because you have compared yourself to others. Your journey is a unique and integral part of the fabric of the world you manifest for yourself and all others. You each have disbelief in yourselves, but this is also purposeful, for you cannot expand on your journey without first expressing that doubt. But when you receive tangible proof of your mission, holding yourself back does the same to your world, for you each contribute equally. We said this change is generational, and you are moving through the limitations of your ancestors. It is not accidental that today is Roger's father's birthday, who transcended the physical plane 25 years ago. We gave you all a message on this date in 2012 that would aid you. It would be best if you let go of your disbelief before you can find your self belief. If you desire to expand your physical life experience, decide to expand your thinking every day. In other words, anything you desire to be, do, have, and create or manifest must take root in your thinking. It is pretty challenging to do anything physical in physical if your thinking has not accepted your idea of what it is you desire to do. When you become accustomed to your current conditions or station in life, you will create more of the same if your thinking has yet to expand to include more. It is also becomes crucial that you do this each day. Many times, what you think of as grandiose thinking will not necessarily produce the results you desire because you might not accept that. Well, I certainly didn't accept that because what I couldn't accept was that, oh, wait a minute, I was given something that could really cause something to change in the world. We all were. All I did was find a path and live it. And what it did was it caused me to heal. And certain things are just really unbelievable. But we have to step beyond that, which is what I'm doing. And it's why I'm taking this work so much further. You can heal anything. I've done so much mind body healing with this work. I'm saying this because it wasn't me, it was me connecting to cosmic consciousness and intelligence, which is what Wilhelm has been. That's what it happened. But you have the same thing. Whenever we exist in the world, we're each meant to bring in something and then add to it and then give it to others. That's how we all evolve. That's what this work does. And I've put out so many things in the last several days because I hope, because I wanted to give you more information. I've done this for so long, and I know the reason that that was talked about repeating. We're talking about neuroscience. We're talking about changing your brain, and we do that every day. This is why this work connects you to your authentic self, because that is how you live your best life and make your contribution. And the only reason you wouldn't do it is that you just haven't believed yourself, or you haven't uncovered who you're meant to become, or you didn't believe it, but it's in front of you now, and you can grab it if you choose to. Thanks. See you soon.